Welcome. This is Micah Fairchild, Editor-in-Chief of PayrollLab.com, and today we turn our attention to Infor Lawson, one of the selected solutions for our top 10 payroll software offerings. Our goal today is to give as well-rounded of a review that we can, touching on additional system strengths and areas where we see deficiencies. And with a solution as big as Infor Lawson, that'll be a tall order to fill to be sure. But I brought along my colleague, Chuck Schaefer, CEO of Vantive Media. So Chuck, thanks for being here today. Since I know you've had a chance to sit down with some of the executives from Infor, get a bit more information about their strategies, I really am looking forward to hearing your thoughts on the Lawson payroll solution.
Well, Micah, I'm happy to help, but I do request that you cease and desist any and all bad jokes regarding enterprise software applications.
All right, well, in that case, I guess I'll be good. All right, Chuck. So we've had a chance to talk a little bit about Infor Lawson's payroll capabilities during our highlight video of the top 10 payroll solutions. And we touched on the company's compensation management capabilities, their strong mobile HR and payroll presence, and their global payroll partnership with Patterson's. Anything else you'd like to add to those features to kick us off?
Sure. In addition to the Infor Lawson payroll strengths you just mentioned, there are many other additional highlights for the solution, such as four companies operating in Canada or the United States or both have the ability to leverage the payroll module simultaneous payroll run capability, as well as processing features like Lawson's automated tax assignment, taxing authority synchronization, and robust regulatory feature sets, which comply with a bevy of statutory requirements like vacation and pension plans, garnishments, workers' compensation, and other areas. And not only that, but Lawson's payroll solution also provides one of the only automated allocation mechanisms for tips, capturing, calculating, and reporting tips information and ensuring compliance with legal requirements like FLSA.
Those are excellent points. While those capabilities are only available, like you said, for U.S. and Canadian companies, it's about as comprehensive as you can get for those countries. Now, internationally, though, I have to admit that I'm a bit puzzled by the Infor Lawson setup. And what I mean by that is that, even though the system is capable of supporting both multiple currencies and languages, those functionalities appear to only be accessible through the global human resource software module. And that's actually a module that's packaged as part of the talent management suite. So for those organizations that are already leveraging best-of-breed talent management, adding an additional package from Lawson could be both overkill from a functional perspective and financial one. As I've noticed in other functional areas with the Lawson solution, the placement of feature sets, it seems illogical and looks to be more suited for an upselling process than actually meeting customers' needs.
That's something that more than a few customers have also noticed, particularly with compensation management. I will say, though, that for those organizations that are in the position to leverage additional talent management capabilities, the Global Human Resources module does have a set of fairly impressive infrastructure elements, ultimately geared towards supporting the complexities of multinational businesses. For instance, both organizational and reporting structures can maintain multi-country differences, plus the International Employee Profile Record does include capabilities for global employment contract management, integrated third-party localization tools, and comprehensive employee designation definitions.
Okay, I'll grant you that. I guess to stay on the positive side of the fence then, I'd also add that the company has some fairly unique self-service payroll functions that intrigue me as well. Of course, they got some of the basic, rather ubiquitous features like access and checking pay stub history down too. But one of the things that Infor Lawson does that very few vendors have the capability for is creating these what-if scenarios to see the effect of a withholding or even benefit changes on their paycheck. And that's pretty rare.
And employees find that type of modeling helpful for their personal planning. Another aspect of this solution that I think makes it into the unique category is the company's software delivery and hosting options. Of course, Lawson offers traditional on-premise deployments, but when it comes to hosted services, the company offers two very different options as well. For one, customers can use Amazon's Elastic Cloud Computing, or EC2, as an infrastructure as a service solution in what Infor calls the Lawson External Cloud. This can be a good option for creating temporary or elastic QA or testing environments, or a good option for multinational companies that want to leverage an Amazon data center in a country outside the United States. Additionally, customers can opt for the Lawson Managed Services for full hosting and application management, and this can be a good option for companies looking to offload system administration and IT applications management. And while both options offer value, the Lawson Managed Services offering is generally the greatest benefit for those clients lacking or wishing to forego the IT infrastructure and staffing necessary for an on-premises HR and payroll software system.
That's true. And of course, our viewers should probably know as well that when it comes to those data hosting capabilities, Lawson's Data Center is SSAE 16 and ISO 27001 certified.
Which, as we have touched upon before, the SSAE 16 is helpful for U.S. public companies or companies that fall under SEC or Sarbanes-Oxley governance, while the ISO 27001 is a far more prescriptive attestation that is much more globally recognized and appreciated. For me, though, perhaps the most enticing aspect of the Amazon EC2 hosting option is that Lawson offers a test drive, allowing customers to use Lawson's software with their own processes and data, generally for up to about 14 days, without committing to a purchase or services subscription.
Well, that sounds like a win-win to me. Okay, so as we start to wrap things up, what else do you think you could lend your analysis on that we might not have already covered?
I'd add just a few things. First, Infor Lawson's database architecture is limited to single-tenant delivery, which, in the opinion of IDC analysis, poses a challenge to the release strategy and vendor achievement of economies of scale. What that means is that key SaaS benefits like rapid deployment of upgrades and new versions won't be as frequent, since the system doesn't rely on a multi-tenant database architecture whereby new upgrades, new versions, or enhancements can be globally rolled out to all customers simultaneously. Second, the Lawson payroll system is nearly 4 decades old, and while it has received numerous upgrades, there are several areas in need of technology refresh, and this may come into play depending upon your particular business needs for systems integration, software customization, or business process automation. And third, prospective buyers need to recognize that even though the company suggests that Lawson's payroll and HCM software can handle the needs of virtually any industry, the fact is that the company makes a virtue out of catering to the specific vertical markets, offering highly tailored packages for industries like aerospace, high-tech, pharma, automotive suppliers, retail, manufacturing, and financial services. And finally, in the past, Lawson's reputation was riding high as a credible alternative to solutions such as SAP and Oracle. Then came the company's unfortunate refusal to embrace emerging technologies such as the cloud and software as a service. While competitors such as SAP, Oracle, Workday, Ultimate Software, and others focused on embracing disruptive technologies, it began to seem as if Lawson actually lacked an innovation agenda, creating the impression of a vendor out of touch with customer needs. Add to this the concerns raised by the Infor acquisition, and the industry began to lower its expectations from Lawson. In truth, though, the reality has been far different. With parent companies Infor Ion integration, a new and cohesive technology strategy, huge push into increased R&D, Lawson is again a solution with an agenda and fast coming up the inside track. In a sense, then, the company's biggest challenge remains the public relations element of bringing their messaging and their new initiatives to market.
Excellent thoughts, Chuck. And with that, I'd say we're pretty much covered. We've pretty much covered what we can on Infor's Lawson payroll capabilities. So thanks for tuning in for the conversation today. I hope we see you back here next time as we continue our examination of the top payroll solutions and our exploration of the nexus of payroll processes, payroll strategies, and technology.